Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane. And as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise.
Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Hannah Olson and I live in Minnesota with my husband and our 3 young children, and I stay home with the kids and I homeschool them as well. I'm really excited about today's video because it is a collaboration with my friend Davee Kilian. Her channel here on YouTube is her name, Davee Kilian. Davee is a mama to 3 little ones and she's actually expecting her 4th baby this summer. She and her husband live in South Dakota, which is really fun because we're just over here in Minnesota, so not too far away. Anyway, her content is so lovely. I love Davee's peaceful, cozy home. Her decorating style is just gorgeous, and her thoughtful, simple living approach to motherhood and to homemaking. Davee has a blog as well, and she shares beautiful and delicious recipes over there too. She's really intentional about what she brings into her home, what she prepares for meals for her family, how she organizes things, and so much more. Her content has been so inspiring to me, and I know you'll find it inspiring as well. So be sure to head over to her channel. Again, it's Davee Kilian here on YouTube. I'll link it down below. It's so fun to be collaborating with Davee today, so go check out her channel and tell her I sent you. So I thought I'd bring you along with us for another day in our life style vlog. These are really fun to do, and I've been filming them about once a week, which just gives you a little peek into our everyday life. But a lot of our days, of course, with young children and when we're homeschooling, look the same or similar. So I love inviting you in to see what we're up to. So Sophie started her day with a piano lesson. We're using Hoffman Academy for online piano lessons. It was a pretty dreary day outside. It was, I think, April 1st. So yes, we're into April, and yes, we're still getting snow on and off here in Minnesota. We've actually had picnics outside, and I feel like the weather just can't quite decide that it is truly spring yet, but it's okay. We've had a lot of cozy days at home. Like you can see here, Svea, our 2-year-old, is really enjoying this spring board book, and I shared about this in a recent video of my whole spring books collection. I like to try to get some housework done before we begin school. And here Svea was making up a little song for me, which was really cute. But as much as I can, I like to get a couple balls rolling in terms of putting laundry away before the school day starts, or getting dishes out of the dishwasher and put away in the morning. We usually do start school around maybe 9 or 9:30. And I love the flexibility of homeschooling because, of course, we can push it later if we need to, or if everyone's ready to go, then we can start school earlier in the morning. For breakfast, some mornings we have our energy balls. I consider it kind of an emergency when we run out of these in our family because they are so well loved and they work great for snacks and for breakfast, just something easy to grab and go. So I will link that recipe down below if you're in the mood for some kind of energy ball recipe. It's just our family's favorite one, and we have them all the time. We have them around all the time. And I just love Svea's little sweatsuit because she did not like that one for a long time, and now she's really into it, which is super cute. So if you saw that book called If in passing, that is just the poem If by Rudyard Kipling, hard for me to say. And they turned it into a picture book, an illustrated picture book, and it's a super fun and meaningful poem to know and to read with the kids, and the fact that it's an illustrated picture book makes it extra fun too. So here I'm working with Soren on his math lessons. Soren is our 5-year-old and he's in pre-K this year. He is always full of a zest for life and for learning, which is super fun. And my husband actually didn't have any meetings that morning, so he was home and he was working with Sophie, our 7-year-old, who's in 1st grade, on her math, and she had a math test that morning, I believe. So they were elsewhere in the house working on that, which was super helpful. And tag teaming like that allowed us to get through even more schoolwork in a shorter period of time, which was a blessing. And the kids always enjoy having their dad as an additional or substitute teacher. It just mixes things up, and it was a fun morning for everyone. While Soren was working on his reading lesson, which, by the way, we love all about reading so much for both of our older kids, Svea was working on her, what is it called? All Better book. It's a little Band-Aid boo-boo book, and she just gets such a kick out of it. It's great for church, for waiting rooms, and places like that. So I will link that book down below. It is just such a perfect book for that toddler age. For lunch, I made a Cajun chicken pasta recipe. It's a really good one, and I will leave that link down below in the description box. It uses whole grain or whole wheat pasta, as well as fresh zucchini that you saute up with everything else, and mushrooms too. So I feel like it's a really good recipe for sneaking in some extra veggies. My kids are actually usually very good about eating vegetables, but I still love packing extra veggies in meals for all of us. While I was chopping up the zucchini, Sophie was getting a little extra reading practice in next to me, and so we were kind of multitasking there. We don't usually do that, but it worked out well. While I was chopping up the mushrooms, the three kids all came over and wanted to try them. I didn't even call them over or ask them if they wanted to. They just thought it would be fun, which I thought that's great for them. They're being food tasters, as we always like to say. We are food tasters. And Svea, of course, I didn't really think she would like it, and she did end up spitting it out, but I wanted her to have exposure, like everyone else, exposure to a wide variety of vegetables, and so I'm proud of her for at least trying. But it's moments like these that I realize sometimes in retrospect when I'm editing a video like this, that this is my dream come true, to be in the kitchen with my children, just surrounded by all these precious little souls that God has given us to nurture and to raise. It's just such a dream come true to be hanging out with them and get to spend all day, every day with them. So whenever I cook, I try to stage a cooking show as much as possible, because that makes everything much easier when the time comes to dump it all in.
Maybe the sad part, Samkin's gonna get in trouble.
So Bjorn has been reading Redwall, the first Redwall book, to the kids recently, and they are absolutely loving it. And it's really cute because here Bjorn made them coffee. He basically puts the tiniest splash of coffee in everybody's mug, and then they get a bunch of creamer. So it's a very special little treat, and they were having story time for quite some time. So I headed back to the kitchen and got more of our Cajun chicken pasta whipped up. This is the chicken sausage. It's like a kielbasa kind of sausage that goes in it.
Great storage of art for where you're gone. Those still need to
So this house is actually a rental house that we're currently in. I know I feel like I keep mentioning this, but for those of you who are new here, This is not our actual house. We're just renting it for 5 months while we are living in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, and then we move back at the end of May to rural, small town, southern Minnesota, which is our home, and I miss it and love it so much. But we do this because we want to live all together as a family, and my husband needs to be in the Twin Cities for his job, for one of his jobs, for about 5 months of the year. And so we move with him, of course, so that we can stay together as a family and live together. So I'm looking forward to being back home in our own house once again this summer and fall, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that house with you guys and showing you kind of a home where I've been able to decorate and design and curate things myself. So my only tweak with this recipe, or my only suggestion for our family, would be to use less Cajun seasoning because it got pretty spicy for the kids. And it was the second time I've made it, and for some reason I think I went a little overboard on the spices or that Cajun seasoning. So you'll just have to adjust it and maybe add more later on, but it's a really good recipe, and I do plan on making it again someday. I am glad, however, that I did decide to make a smoothie to go alongside the Cajun chicken pasta, because that way we had some dairy to cut the heat for the kids a little bit. Plus, I like to pack smoothies with as many healthy things as I can. I didn't have any spinach to go in it, but I did add some collagen and some chia seeds and things like that. My little trick, it's not really that earth-shattering of a trick, is to freeze chunks of bananas, especially bananas that are getting really ripe, and then I can just easily get those out of the freezer and use them kind of like ice cubes or as a base for any kind of smoothie. I was just checking in with my to-do list. I am a huge believer in having a well-organized to-do list as a stay-at-home mom. The kids were playing in the basement, which we've set up kind of as a basement playroom area, and I just wanted to take a minute to share some encouragement as a mom who's in the thick of it right there alongside you. So much of motherhood is pouring ourselves out for our children, and that's okay. But while we're so busy making sure they are provided for and thriving, we can forget ourselves in the midst of it all. And a great way to infuse needed self-care into our days is to remind ourselves of this little phrase or this idea: what's good for my child is also probably good for me. So think about the things we make sure happen for our children: a good, consistent bedtime, drinking enough water or milk, eating a well-rounded diet or well-balanced meals, listening to fun music, getting outside to enjoy nature, making sure our kids take their vitamins, moving their bodies and exercising. These things are all important for us mamas as well. So the next time you're filling up your child's water bottle, fill a glass for yourself too and start chugging it down. The next time you give your children their vitamins, make sure you take yours then too. When you arrange fruits and veggies on their dinner plates, make sure you are giving yourself fruits and veggies too. If you're telling your children to get outside and play or to stop looking at a screen, make sure you get yourself outside to play or exercise with them and stop looking at your screens as well. There are so many ways to help ourselves thrive as mamas by simply noticing the important things we're doing for our kids to make sure they thrive, and then implementing those things for ourselves too. I feel like this is the perfect age 2, for kids to come alongside you and help with household chores, or at least I've found that's the age when my kids always really want to start learning these little chores. And so I did go ahead and get Svea that little broom and dustpan set. It is so darling and she loves using it, and she's trying her very best to help out. We have a few little bunnies who live in our backyard here, which is really fun for the kids to always be peeking out the window and seeing what the rabbits are up to. And it was starting to snow, which felt a little bit like an April Fool's joke because I'm so ready for spring and summer, but it's definitely cozy in here. Well, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. I hope it was fun for you to come along with us for the day and get a glimpse into our family's life. And if you are new here, I wanted to say welcome, and I would be so honored if you'd take a second and hit that subscribe button and choose to stick around. I love sharing about all things motherhood, homemaking, and homeschooling. I also have a free webinar for moms of young children that I will link down below. It's all about my productivity secrets for moms of young children, especially if you don't have outside childcare, so hopefully that is a blessing to you as well. And if you haven't already checked out Davee's channel, I will link it down below. Be sure to go and watch her videos and let her know that I sent you. I know you'll be inspired by her beautiful content and her thoughtful approach to motherhood and homemaking. Thanks again for being here. Hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're at, and I'll see you in my next one.